Brambro back with some Grand Tactician Civil War. CSA campaign, the 1.06. And we're several episodes in now. We're still in 1861, but it is October and we're getting fairly close to winter. We got about another month of moving around before, we get the nerfs from moving in the cold weather and the crap weather, So, a situation may or may not kind of quiet down a little bit fairly soon, but not just yet. Okay. I had a comment in one of the last couple episodes saying, hey, is it possible to flip Oklahoma, which in this time period is the Indian Territory down here, and can you recruit troops from there? Formally, as far as I'm aware, no. Like, you can't make Indian Territory secede. If we look at... Now, we control the Indian Territory, and there's several forts here which actually are Confederate forts. And if we look at the support... Formally, it is Union territory and will stay that way, but we're essentially occupying it, and it so happens that we have 77% support here, much more than the Union does. So, yeah, it's not officially and cannot be, but de facto, this is essentially Confederate-controlled territory and Confederate favorable territory in terms of local opinion and support. Which means, yeah, we can recruit units from here, and I probably will, and I usually do. I'm not doing it right this moment because there aren't very many recruits here. We're not going to get a lot, but if we look here in the recruiting command and just to show this Indian Territory, we've only got like 800 volunteers. Now, I could recruit a small brigade, but it would have to be draft, and I'm not doing that. But we're growing our volunteer manpower, with the farm mech policies or projects, some recruiting projects, some militia acts that we still need to unlock. And yeah, when we get a couple thousand available recruits in Indian Territory, I believe we will be creating a brigade from that. And over here in the officers, we have Stan Wadey, who was in fact a Confederate Brigadier General, I believe. Pretty sure that he was Cherokee, and so that's who would be in command of that particular unit. That's not happening for a while, though. Gotta let the recruits grow. All right, we do have a project available, and it is one that I've been waiting on. That is trade deals. This is basically what I intend to use my diplomatic subsidies for. I am well aware there's probably lots of people who think, who would prefer that I put diplomatic subsidies into things like British artillery and rifles and all this sort of thing, and Prussian weapons for that needle gun thingamajobber. I'm not doing that. I want to. We're in the 1.06, and it's live now. It's not an experimentation campaign anymore. But I want to play kind of the Econ game here. And what Diplo subsidies I do, I want to put it into trade deals. And what this is going to do is further increase profits from foreign trade deals. Right? More lucrative exports, cheaper imports. And I want to match this up with tariffs over on the financial side. Because the biggest Now, we're never going to run a surplus. It's just not going to happen. Deficit spending is just the way it is in this game to support these armies on both sides, even the richer Union. There's no such thing as running a surplus. However, the extent to which we can kind of control the deficit is important because that feeds back into credit rating. So we can't run a surplus, but hopefully we can kind of lessen the impact of the deficit, enabling us to borrow more money at a slightly lower interest rate as we continue into the campaign, which means we do need some revenue for that purpose. And tariffs is kind of the biggest item in revenues. Now, later on, I don't know if I will, but you also have corporate and income taxes that can be levied. But there's acts later on that do that, and you got to go a bit down the government funding policy line to get those. Those, even if I was going to do those aren't going to come for about a year in game time, roughly. So I'm looking to do what we can do with tariffs. And my idea is, I don't know if it's going to work this way, but I want to see if it works this way. If we run trade deals and get more lucrative exports and more in better prices on imports, the idea is that even though the per unit cost price of items comes down, the fact that the prices are better drives economic activity and causes a net increase in the value of trade, thereby increasing the amount of tariffs that we can charge. Not increasing the amount of tariffs, but rather at the same rate increase our tariff revenue. I want to see if it works that way in this game, and so that's what I'm going to try to do in this campaign. And for that reason, that's why I'm plugging Diplo subsidies into trade deals. Now, it's not going to improve, it's not going to ramp up very fast, because even though I've got diplomacy pegged at very high, diplomacy subsidies are going to stay somewhat low compared to the others, because I am not going to take a lot of these diplomacy policies. I might take one here. I might do that and double our diplomacy subsidy to 10 mil, but I will not do more than one, and I'm not sure I'm going to do that. We'll see how things go. I do intend to pop to government funding 1 so that I can do the Tariff Act, and so that I can do impressment, as we have talked about before. So, anyway, I'm going to do the trade deals. Boom. There we go. So on the naval side of things, to support that economic goal, that's why it's going to be important to clear the blockade from our coasts, which is why I built those frigates, and which is why I want to take Fort Monroe so that I can get the frigates out from Norfolk to pop this fleet here, and is why I created these two little raid rod fleets down here in the central part of the Gulf of Mexico coast, in the area of New Orleans and Biloxi and Mobile. So that's kind of dovetailing together in the overall national strategy. And a little bit more on that in a bit, but there's a couple other things first that I want to do, and that one of them is there's been a lot of fighting up here. All of our tactical battles so far in this campaign have been in Northern Virginia, as well as one siege that just finished up in the last episode. Okay. There is a hospital at Richmond, but it looks like none of these armies up here are quite close enough to get an effect from that. So, and I'm trying to be a lot more careful about just spamming buildings around in this campaign compared to the last. But I think a hospital up in this area, I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put a hospital here right around Culpeper Courthouse. I think that'll do. Okay. Back to the finance screen just for a moment. Already it is now, and it's going to continue to be our biggest single line item in expenses, and that is Army upkeep. And one of the reasons why I'm trying to limit the number of weapons projects that I take is that, you know, once we've got some decent weapons, I don't want to keep getting more and more different types of weapons. I want to get those military subsidies flowing into logistics reform, which will help kind of defray this cost a little bit, and it's going to get bigger. It'll probably be at least double this before too long. But another big item in expenses is supply depots. And this isn't just the depots themselves. Each one has an upkeep cost, but the main thing that goes into this is all this stuff in the depots. Okay? Because the government is buying all that stuff off of the market to stock the depots. Which got me thinking, do I have depots anywhere that I just don't need? And the answer is yeah, a few. There's a depot down here in Galveston, Texas. I've played quite a few campaigns in this game, and I have never seen armies operate in Texas. I don't think we need this one. I am going to abandon it. Now, part of it is, okay, I'm going to save 100K on the upkeep cost. That's part of it. But the other thing is, all this stuff, the artillery ammo, the forage, the provisions, it's going to get freed up and become available in the economy to go back to other supply depots. So at least in the short term, we'll have a little bit of a surge in the amount of these items available, and then hopefully that'll make it a little bit cheaper, if only temporarily, for the other supply depots to stock up on this stuff. Now that might be a pretty minor effect, but bottom line is we don't need a supply depot here at Galveston, so I'm going to get rid of it. Now, how that works, I don't know. Basically, it could work one of two ways. One way is all the stuff in this is a government facility, right? It's owned by the Confederate States Army, the CSA government. So the question is, okay, so this 188 small arms ammo, that is government owned ammo. Does it then just transfer to another government depot at no additional cost? Or is it sold back into the economy at Galveston and back into private hands, and then we have to go rebuy it elsewhere? I don't know the answer to that. Logic would say the first way. It's government material already. We just need to move it to another government facility. I have a sneaky suspicion in this game it probably works the second way. And without a whole lot of just really close watching of all these items and maybe looking at the game files, I'm not really aware of a good way to figure out which way it is. But at any rate, I'm abandoning this supply depot. Yeah, parts of the stored goods are sold or utilized. Well, that implies to me they just sell it back into the economy. Unless there's an army nearby that maybe will top off as this thing is disbanded. Anyway, it's going down. And we have kind of a similar thing. There's a supply depot here at New Orleans that I don't think any of our armies are ever going to use. I'm going to do the same thing here. I thought I was going to do this. There it goes. And then there's a couple more that I'm semi... There's one in Atlanta, but that's our recruiting command, so I'll keep that one. I don't think I'm ever going to be actually stationing troops down here in Montgomery. If we have armies that wind up operating down around Montgomery, then other things have gone horribly wrong. So, and we're recruiting troops up at Atlanta. We're not going to be recruiting troops here at Montgomery. So I'm going to go ahead and dump this one too. And then finally, pretty much all the other supply depots. Let me just double check here. Buildings, you can filter for this. Yeah. Fort Smith in Arkansas. Yeah, I think we better keep that at least for the time being. Louisville, yeah, keep that. Nashville's kind of in a rear area, but it's close enough that it could become a not so rear area. We'll leave that. Manassas, definitely a keeper. That's kind of the main depot for the armies up in Northern Virginia. Harper's Ferry is just going to keep bouncing. For now, it's ours. It may bounce back and forth, but when it's when it is under our control, we definitely want that. Atlanta, we're keeping. And Richmond's kind of the same as Nashville's. It's not currently up on the front lines, but it's close enough that I think getting rid of it might be a bad idea. Okay, so we've gotten rid of Montgomery, New Orleans, and Galveston for supply depots. And I don't think that's going to get reflected yet. But we'll let the economy run a little while, maybe until the next Intel report, and see if that had any visible effect on our supply depot expenditure. Okay, so talked a little bit about we want to keep ports unblockaded, and we're starting with trying to keep these unblockaded here near New Orleans and Mobile. And it looks like Biloxi is blockaded, 51%, but Mobile and New Orleans are not. Okay, so if you visualize the blockade area of effect, that kind of implies that there is a federal blockade fleet right down here. If he just scooched up a little bit closer to this fort, he could actually hit all three of them. And I've seen the AI do that before. It's definitely, and I've done it before as Union. So luckily he's kind of further out where he can't hit all three, but he is hitting Biloxi. And so we're going to put these Raidrons into action. And what I'm doing right now is Rousseau's Raidron 1, I'm pulling him back up the river, because I'm going to lead with Raidron 2. And I don't want Raidron 1 being pulled into that. The idea is I want to hit this blockade fleet with 2 sequential attacks, not both of these Raidrons get pulled into the same attack. That's the idea there. Because I think what'll happen is that will drive down his readiness more doing it that way. A naval battle has a frontage of 7 ships. And I think we have 8 ships per, right? So piling 16 in at once, I don't think actually will be as effective as piling in 8 at a time in 2 separate battles. That's what I think. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, we'll be doing that. Okay, the 3 major theaters over here in the Trans-Mississippi. I said in a previous episode that I'm just going to defend Arkansas, and I'd rather fight in Arkansas since it's Confederate territory. I've kind of rethought that. I think controlling the Ozarks here, southwest Missouri, is probably the best way to defend Arkansas. I mean, either way, Price's army is tied to the theater. If he goes over, and you know, I had this idea of using these 2 armies to come together to go for Cairo. Well, that just leaves this whole area wide open. And we've got 3, calling them cities seems a little odd, but 3 big towns in Arkansas. We have Carrollton, Fort Smith, Little Rock. Well, if Price comes over here to mess around along the Mississippi River, that leaves all this open, and Lyon is just sitting there and can just march in. And he may very well do that. Lyon does that sometimes. So I think I'm just going to kind of go the conventional route, and I'm going to bring Price back up into Missouri, and we're going to control this Ozarks area up in here, because there's 2 supply depots here. There's one at Springfield and there's one at Rolla. So we get control of both of those, and then the army itself can kind of hang out here around Lebanon, and will be close enough to draw supply from both at once, thereby lessening the drain on either one of them individually. And it's a pretty good supply situation when we can make that happen. And then, you know, I don't have any designs on going up into St. Louis and trying to make Missouri secede for the time being. But then, if we have this area, then maybe we can kind of leverage that. And I'm interested because I've never done this before. There's probably people watching who've done this a billion times and know exactly what happens, but I don't. So, if we have this area, I wouldn't send Price's army all the way up, but maybe like a small, just a couple brigades, maybe just some calves, something that won't have a very, very big supply demand and can actually live off of these IIPs. Send them up here to capture St. Joseph and Leavenworth, which are the westernmost cities on the map, for want of a better term, big towns on the map. And I gotta think that they control all these IIPs in Kansas and in the Nebraska territory. I mean, there's a couple of Union forts, but forts don't exert a very large zone of control. So we might, just by taking Leavenworth alone, we might just completely occupy Kansas. And by taking St. Joseph, maybe that more or less completely occupies Nebraska territory and possibly even a little bit of Iowa. Now, does that mean we could keep it? No, maybe not. Union would just, kind of chase our little brigade away. Probably. But I'm curious to see what the effect is of Confederacy control of St. Joseph and Leavenworth. And that'll be later on. But for now, yeah, Price is going to come back into Missouri. And I said I'm not that interested in taking St. Louis. I have found in past campaigns, and I have seen in other campaigns, that it's kind of a situation where the more effort you put into an area, the more effort the Union is going to put into an area. And this whole if you take St. Louis, and they're just going to keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And I know a lot of people watching this channel also watch Worms and Warriors, and we saw what happened in his last campaign, where basically like 60% of the war all occurred right around here, and it just becomes this manpower and resource drain. And so I'm not interested in replicating that. And in one of my own previous campaigns, I did take St. Louis, and the Union just never gave up. It was battle after battle after battle after battle. Because it's a Union city. So even when they are in, quote, defensive, unquote, mode, that includes trying to retake Union cities in Union-controlled states. And we saw that as well in my own previous campaign in the case of Cincinnati. So all I'm saying is, I'm not saying I'm not going to ever take any Union cities, but for right now, in the state that our armies are in, I don't know if I want to take any real soon. And that includes Cairo. Because it'll be the same sort of thing. This will become a focal point. Now, a little later, that might be okay. But at the moment, most of our troops are still smoothbore armed. I don't think the equipage of the armies is up to that level of chronic warfare yet. For now, I'd kind of like to keep things a little bit quieter and do things by maneuver and that, that sort of thing. That will all depend on what the Union does. So it's October, and I think for now, our Army of Tennessee in the main Western theater has basically done its job. Kentucky has seceded, and a Confederate Kentucky is the best way to defend Tennessee, which is one of our most important states when it comes to economy, because of things like this iron mine, and there's some industry around Knoxville and Nashville and Memphis, okay? And Tennessee is also a pretty big manpower source as well. So we want to keep Tennessee happy. We want to keep Tennessee, the whole point being, the goal of a Confederate Kentucky is protection of Tennessee, not so much an end in itself as it was in my last campaign. So the short version of all that is Johnston's just kind of hang out here at Louisville and unless the Union does something, which they very well might do, that changes things. For now, I'm kind of happy with Johnston maintaining winter quarters at Louisville for the next several months. Okay, that leaves Virginia, which has by far been the most active theater so far. And I think what I'm going to do here is the same sort of idea. Now, we've got enough troops to push McClellan out again, but these two are low readiness. I think I'm going to leave McClellan here for the time being, because the Union is in consolidation and regrouping mode. And I think I want to take advantage of that by flipping Alexandria back to Confederate control, because that is a Virginia city. And we'll do that with Beauregard's army. And Magruder has captured Winchester. I don't think they're going to be coming back to Winchester for at least a month. So I'm going to put Magruder on the railroad, and I'm going to bring him back down so that he can go take care of Fort Monroe. Let me double check that route, make sure he's not going to try to get on a river. Okay. Yeah. And even though he's the furthest away, I'm using him because he's got the best readiness. Okay. Get time rolling. Let's let Raid 1 get up the river a little bit. It's just a holding position. He'll be coming back down real soon, I think. Also, earlier in the campaign, there was a little bitty... It wasn't exactly a battle, but our scout ship retreated from somewhere around here. And it actually ran all the way over to Tampa. There's a blockade fleet somewhere up here. I'm just going to bring him out just enough where we can get vision on it. Just because, you know, I like to see what I'm headed toward. Now I'm interested to know how strong this fleet is. Kind of using him a little bit at a time because I don't want him to actually engage. Is Apalachicola getting blockaded too? No. I feel like we should have caught sight of this fleet by now. Wow, we had to get really close to see that. We had to basically we had to get within battle radius. Back to Tampa with you. Okay, well, we know where he is. Didn't get to have a quick. Didn't get to have a long enough look at him to see how many ships it was. Well, at least Neptune didn't get hurt. Just retreated. That's fine. I just wonder at the vision. Okay. Yeah. Rousseau's way far enough up the river. Probably too far. So, let's get Murphy here in raid mode. And we'll just send him on out here. Now, he's going to get trashed. We're weakening, not trying to actually defeat. There he goes. Found him. Well, he's still not visible. All we're seeing is the battle icon. What's up with these invisible fleets? Oh yeah, that's a pretty big force there. Lots of frigates. Not seeing any little stuff. Yeah, we're getting smacked. Not unexpectedly. The idea is these guys are supposed to go in there and beat up on the small ships. Doesn't look like he's got too many small ships in this one. Just this one. I think that is a... there's just one third-rate steamer. The rest of them are pretty big. Sloop of war. It's about as small as it gets. Okay, we've had 2 sunk, 2 more captured. There's only 3 still in battle. Oh, I think it's over. Is it? Okay, so the Union has done their Militia Act 4. Alright, that's over with. Raid Run 2 headed back to, looks like they're going to Biloxi. 13 ships. Well, their readiness degraded somewhat, so I'm going to do the same thing with Rousseau. Raid mode. Let's see, has Magruder gotten down to Richmond yet? He has. Okay, Magruder. McDowell has come back across the river. we have recaptured. Okay. Well, they didn't like that. I kind of thought in that consolidation regrouping mode that they might stay quiet. It doesn't appear so. 24,000 men headed our way under McDowell, and another 30,000 under McClellan right behind them. So I mean, this is 54,000 men estimated right here, and we've got not quite 30,000. Okay. Okay. Well, now in retrospect, it looks like having all three armies attack McClellan while we could, that, in hindsight, looks like that would have been the better move. Ooh, that was fast. Well, okay, he just goes right into siege. And it is in federal favor. I don't doubt that. Now we could pile Joe Johnston into this, and that might turn it back into our favor against McDowell by himself. But McClellan is just right here. He can pile in. And then Patterson could, although he didn't seem too enthusiastic about that last time. I don't have a withdraw option. It's just a plain retreat or nothing. We do have more guns. And we are... Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to bring Johnston up, and let's just see if we bring Johnston up in here, we'll have a pretty sizable advantage in artillery, and as long as these other two armies don't come in to reinforce McDowell, might be in pretty good shape. But if they do, we're just going to have to retreat. But let's just see how that pans out. Let's bring Johnston over here. Okay. And now I'm wondering what to do with Magruder. Should I countermand? No, I'm going to let him go. Okay, back down to the Gulf. Oh goodness, I forgot to get said we're going to move price up, and then I did not move price up. And his goal is that supply depot up here. $7,000. So I hope that estimate is correct or close. If it is, Lion may simply just retreat and not fight. We'll see what happens there. Oh, that's our engineers. Thought this was supposed to pop me to the look. I thought double clicking that would just pop me to the location. Okay, we're building a telegraph here at Helena because we need that little skip in order to put telegraph at Little Rock. Now I think this raiding fleet is a little bit stronger. There's like a cotton-clad or two in here. See if that helps. Okay. Yeah, we have two cotton-clads in this group. For whatever good that does. Everybody's engaged. See, now they're starting to run low on ammo from the last battle, so this may or may not go slightly better for us from that. I wish I'd made 3 of these things now, of these raiding squadrons. Okay, Massachusetts is kind of beating feet. St. Louis is low on ammo. Our 2 cottonclads are Raymond stuff. Okay. Yeah, this isn't going so hot. Oh, now we've got a sloop of war out of ammo and disengaging. There's another sloop of war running low on ammo. Manassas is ramming Marion. Seeing a lot of hit, no effect. Miss. Of course, that's happening a lot with their shots as well. This is not in our favor. And it wasn't expected to be. But we're starting to get the condition of a lot of these ships down a little bit. This may be enough to, you know, not defeat them, but to force them off station. And stop the blockade for a little while. I mean, that's the goal. Even if it's a Union naval victory. Speed this up a little bit. Okay. So how did that adjudicate? Well, we're clearly beat to hell. However, I don't see a blockading icon here. Raid 1-1 retreating. Desperate, thoroughly outgunned and outmaneuvered by a superior enemy. My fleet has suffered 1 sunk and 2 captured, and the condition of my fleet is alarming. However, the condition of the enemy fleet is believed to be alarming. And have we lifted the blockade on Biloxi? May not be able to tell yet. Not blockaded. Haha! Okay, let's go see how this Alexandria siege is going. Johnston is engaged now, and it is slightly in our favor, and I think it will remain so. 95 guns to 30 guns, and we've taken about 600 casualties, but McDowell's taken about 1,000. So it's kind of going our way for now, and I think it'll stay that way unless Patterson and or McClellan come to join the party. If that happens, just gonna have to retreat, and that's about all there is to it. But we cleared the blockade from Biloxi, and let's see. Are we besieging Fort? No. Anytime, Magruder. Whenever it strikes your fancy. And then how close is Price to Lyon? Not very. Okay. So we're headed to Fort Monroe. We're headed up into Missouri. For the moment, we seem to be having a favorable situation in the siege works at Alexandria. And I think that will do for this episode. If you like what we're doing with the channel, you like the content, then leave a like, leave a comment, maybe even subscribe, if that strikes your fancy. But at any rate, thank you very, very much for watching. I appreciate it.